Hello, everybody. I'm here for Dark Tarot, TFT, Tarot for Today, Divine Dabblings with Oberon and Banshee, and this is me, Oberon, with Goth Tarot. Weekly look into the shadow sides of life. So let's get started right away with an opening meditation from the Oracle of the Hekatean Path. And we are reviewing toxic relationships. Now let's start with that opening meditation from the Oracle of the Hekatean Path. Inalia of the Sea, number 10. Emotions. Inalia of the Sea, emotions. Inalia's cleansing waters can help you heal from trauma and clear out emotional baggage. Surrender anything that does not serve you to the depths and don't look back. Work with this oceanic aspect through dreams, guided meditation, and intuition, exploring the untapped depths of your psyche. Beneath the tranquil surface of the ocean lies the tumultuous depths of feeling and emotion. Inalia is both free-flowing and crushing despair. Don't be afraid to get wet. Take a deep breath and dive into feeling. And once again, that was from the Order of the Hekatean Path. And I'd like to think that, of course, here at Goth Tarot, and probably a number of our programmings, it is about diving into the depths of our emotions to understand life and what life is doing to us. All right, so we're going to review the Cries of the Soul's Oracle. And that was begun 2 weeks ago at the beginning of August on a special show with Banshee. We kind of been doing this now. We'll work together on the first month, and then the following weeks are what I contribute to that. So I'm going to reread the section we read earlier 2 weeks ago on toxic relationships. Our presence means drama, conflict, unexpected events, and misunderstandings. And our aura is so powerful that we embody an unchangeable truth. Love hurts. And when we love, we accept everything. We exist in all aspects of your life, and even in your relationship with yourself. When we are here, each person expects the other to create an enveloping comfort zone and make promises they'll never be able to keep. With us, you try to escape your wounds and look for new inner and outer balance, but you end up locking yourself into negative relationship patterns that eventually damage you. And that is toxic relationships, I suppose. All right, so now we're going to update the work and see how we are actually doing in our work here. And to do that, I'm going to use the Erethereal Shadow Work Tarot. And so this simply tells us, how are we actually dealing with the toxic relationships? Are we understanding them? Are we accepting them and dealing with them in a more proper manner? And the card I have pulled is the Seven of Wands, upright. And I think it's saying we are working on them, but we sort of feel we have no other allies with us. It's pretty much on our own. This could be true for many of us who have so many different codependencies in our lives that almost every relationship could be toxic. But I think it's a warning to us, or a statement to us, to mostly just realize that this is something that maybe you have to work through yourself, and that at this time other relationships may not necessarily be helpful to you in defining what the situations are and how you have to work on them. All right, I'll just leave that there then. All right, we're going to go on now to the rest of the reading. And what I have done is I have pulled, well, I will be pulling several cards from several decks. And these may be aspects that relate to the shadow work of toxic relationships, but they may just point out other things. So first I'm going to use the Lost Soul Tarot, and we are looking for what our dark avatar is. The dark avatar is a personality or archetype or persona that we enact around ourselves, and we use that maybe to take the blame or to take the representation of what the shadow work is. And in a way, it can externalize it. We can just sort of chalk it off to being something else, but it really isn't. It is a part of ourselves. So, what is the dark avatar? What are things we do that basically are proxies for ourselves, and maybe we use them to immunize ourselves from criticism or from dealing with the other aspects of shadow work? And it's the reversed Queen of Pentacles. And our dark avatar then says that we are somebody like the perpetual mother of lost causes. We're always explaining ourselves to others as in a process of trying to self-heal or working on our issues. But maybe we're not really doing that. We're just saying that. It's something to think about. Are you that lost of a soul that you can't really face shadow work, and so you deceive yourself and everyone by enacting that role of a healing persona, working on your own self-care and issues, but you may not be really facing up to what some of those are. It's kind of like what we saw with Analia, the sea, that we have to take a deeper dive into what's going on in order to create better constructions for our sense of being, our persona, different archetypes or aspects of self that we want to raise up rather than use as a block. All right. So the next card we're going to do then is going to be called the Dark Trick. And it's furtherly other things we do that maybe are not so much persona related, but we use to distract or deceive what our actual progress or work is with the shadow work. Maybe we use it as a way of just denying that it really is there. Just deny there's a problem. And of course, everyone knows you have to admit you have a problem. So I'm using the Joker Tarot for that. Here we go. What is the dark trick? What tricks or deceits do we use to imply we're doing shadow work or getting better, but we're not really dealing with it? And see, there's a reason why I use different decks, because I think sometimes if the same card shows up between different decks, there's a heightened meaning there. Of course, that's not what happened this time. It's a different queen. It's the Queen of Cups. And the Queen of Cups is upright. And I'm going to stick it between our Queen of Pentacles, Lost Soul, and Annali of the Sea, Emotions, because the Queen of the Cups is similar to that card, and it represents the idea of this ongoing love or care that maybe is very dysfunctional. That once again, just like we enact an avatar of somebody working on ourselves, we also say we still have time to pour out all our love towards others. But this may not totally be true. We could also be using the dark trick as a way of trying to bring attention to ourselves from that emotional part too, that we just need someone to understand us and give us emotional warmth. So these cards really play well together, in my opinion. All right, so finally then we go to the dark horizon. How do we reconcile these two queens here? How do we find what is the better practice or better way of negotiating what's going on between the dark trickster and the dark avatar? So I'm pulling the final card from the Midnight Boulevard. And the Boulevard represents that sense of an actual pathway towards the horizon that allows us to recognize and hopefully internalize these concepts. The dark horizon. Strength. Major Arcana. Number 8. Strength. We were surrounded by a lot of care for ourselves and a need maybe to go deep into our emotions and use our emotions to settle ourselves, even though we may be doing them in dysfunctional ways, codependent ways, using our problems to attract attention to us, that only enables us and doesn't really help us out, doesn't really give us better to be. We have to find the willingness to use love, which we're seeing here, the emotionality, as the basis for everything. How we attack anything in our life to improve it is a matter of applying that personal, compassionate strength. So I think the work goes on. All right, I'm going to close, and we're going to use a meditation from the Dark Light Oracle. Imagination. My mind can create anything, opening up a world of possibilities. I can imagine a castle in the sky, a river of fog, a gigantic clock, or anything I fancy. My creativity is unlimited. You may call it daydreams, I call it inspiration. The wildest of human creations were once just a crazy idea in somebody's mind. So do not repress yourself. Let your imagination run wild, give it free rein, invent splendors and castles, and magical lands and visionary worlds. Tomorrow you may question the feasibility of your project, but today only dare to dream and imagine beyond measure. The frontiers of your mind are your only limits. Affirmation. I follow my imagination. Though I apply myself not to get lost in chimeric dreams, I let my creativity express itself to the fullest. This may be a useful thought for us as we're dealing with all this, that really the emotional depths we can feel per those other cards may give us other things to focus on in our imagination that may be a tool to helping us deal with the toxic relationships and the other shadow issues, the things that we just can't seem to do on our own. And that's codependency too, in a way, and that's toxic relationships. They can disempower us, make us feel we have no choice but to give our agency or authority over to other things or other people. If we use our imagination, we may actually even figure out ways we can override all of this and project ourselves into a new life, a new goal. So if your life isn't what you want it to be, try using some time to imagine what it is and begin putting in the steps you need to move you in that direction. I know it sounds easy and that it's not, but we're here working with you, and there's always next time. So thank you once again for watching TFT Goth Tarot. Our live shows tomorrow night from 7 to 9. And Friday morning is my other show, The Emotional Exchanges, at 7 o'clock. Saturday morning, watch our happy hour at 10 o'clock for a positive, divine, uplifting message for you for the week. Sunday, Banshee's Material Matters gives the economic lowdown for the week for all the signs of the zodiac. And then we have our Sunday afternoon live stream from 2 to 4, pretty much like tomorrow night's, answering all the questions we can. All right. Thanks everybody for your support, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.